Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/maliciouscompliance, where people conform to the letter but not the spirit of a request. If you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some malicious compliance. You can't use the company TV for your Switch. Sounds good to me. I work for a pretty well-known home improvement store, and we have a break room in the back with a TV for us to watch programs and sitcoms on our break. On this particular day, no one was using the TV. It was turned off and everyone was on their phones, so I figured that there was no harm in plugging in my Switch and sharing the fun of letting people have a go at it. While I'm watching people play, my supervisor walks in and sees the setup. She informs me that this is the company's TV, so you can't use it for personal entertainment. Big bummer, since people were having fun, but I can't lose my job, so I pack up my Switch. That day on my way home from work, I passed by a house that has a massive honking old school CRT TV out front that they're giving away for free. It's bigger than the TV that we have at my job, and it still works. The next day, I haul this massive TV out of my car and into the break room. I get a few odd looks, but I don't care. Too focused on complying with the rules. I plug this sucker into the wall right underneath our company TV, now tiny in comparison to the CRT, and hook up my Switch to it for people to play. Supervisor walks in and sees people playing on a bigger monitor. I'm not using the company TV, but I am using an even bigger personal TV. People are playing the Switch and having a good time. She tries to say something about how I'm blocking the view or causing disruption in the break room, but the other TV is turned off anyways, and people are watching intensely as two co-workers are racing around in Mario Kart, so I don't really think it was that big of a deal. Not really sure if I'm gonna get a strike for this or not, but it'll be worth it if I do, and I think I might be able to argue that I followed the rules. Part of me expects that this TV will mysteriously disappear, and that security will have no footage of who might have taken it, which will be funny since it's so big, but it's the thought that counts. Wait, are you guys having fun in work? We can't be having that here. School, then home, then tutoring, then bed. Got it. I babysit for a family that can only be described as tiger parents. I've watched their 10-year-old a lot this summer while they've been at work, and she was in summer school 7 hours a day. Then came home and had a violin or piano lesson, then she had a long list of chores I had to oversee, and finally homework for summer school with a tutor at the library. I don't think I've ever met a less happy child. I had a sister who was a total overachiever and liked to fill her days with this kind of stuff, but she enjoyed the activities she selected. This girl had to be begged and bribed to move from one activity to the next, and kept pleading to me to just let her sleep or visit a friend. Ran this by her parents, who said playdates aren't allowed. I kept asking if I could bring her to the science museum or an aquarium, somewhere sufficiently educational but fun. I always got shot down. Straight to school, then to home, then to tutoring, then to bed, was their mantra. The tutor was someone I know from college, a really nice associate professor who's still pretty young. She could see how absolutely miserable this girl was, and I floated an idea by her. I called the girl's parents and said the tutor had been in touch and wanted to meet somewhere closer to her day job. Parents confirmed this with the tutor and all was good. What we didn't mention is the place closer to work was a family fun center. We'd arrive half an hour to an hour early. Can't be late for tutoring, of course. They're paying good money. And because we're on the early side, we'd have no choice but to play games and go on rides. Then the tutor would arrive, and they'd do their work in a university building next door. She starts school again next week, so the family no longer needs my services, and I can safely post this and say it worked out. Hopefully her summer was a little less miserable. I'll never understand parents like that. Like, your life must be so miserable if you're forced to do that. Tell staff to get back to work when discussing wages? So I've worked at a retail chain for the past 3 years, and can't be more unhappy with the company. Started off in store, then got to a position with corporate when they needed someone willing to travel and set up new stores. It was a pretty sweet gig, and I was guaranteed job security, only for my position to be eliminated 6 months later due to budgeting issues, i.e. corporate doesn't know how to manage their spending while being cheap with overhead. I got stuck back in a store and have been job hunting ever since. Recently, some changes have been happening in our company. For one thing, some of the stores that I helped set up only a year or so ago were already closing. I heard whispers about corporate shutting down my store, so I went ham on the job hunt and landed a decent office job with better pay and benefits. Another big change that happened recently was how we handle employees discussing their wages. Recently on a conference call, our district manager had to specify it's technically illegal to tell employees they're not allowed to discuss wages. Like, duh guys. But they still wanted management to discourage this behavior. Their solution? Redirect the conversation to focus on their task at hand, or give them a task to do. In other words, tell them to get back to work. Cue malicious compliance. Now, I'm a big advocate for workers' rights, and since I've already got another job in the bag, I don't have a care to spare about upholding this company's image any longer. So anytime I hear employees talking about wages, I let them know that corporate doesn't like that, and I'm supposed to tell them to get back to work. But since it's their right to know their wages, please feel free to continue. That's gotta be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Why? You don't need to stick to a contract because you're my mother? Good luck with that. This happened roughly 5 years ago, just after I turned 18. My mother was running a small art supply shop in the small farming community I grew up in. She took this shop over after the original owners went bankrupt and sold it off. She was doing a pretty good job. Both of my parents are pretty business-minded and would make amazing business partners if they could stand being in the same room together longer than 30 minutes. Just making a few silly choices here and there, and she got us kids to help out quite often. One visit during the Xmas holidays, I had come up from my dad's to stay for about a month, and my mother had the amazing idea to teach the 3 kids, me just turned 18, brother 16 and stepsister 8, about having a real job, and printed up contracts for us to become employees under her. For my brother and sister, these were not worth the paper they were written on, as they were under 18, but because I was 18, it would have been legally binding. This wasn't her intention at all, but I wasn't willing to take the risk. So I filled it out with complete BS, putting my name down as Elvis, saying I had jail time, drawing a cat as a signature, etc. She went nuts at me. I was apparently being disrespectful and childish, and when I tried to explain myself, I was told to shut up and not talk back to her. The convo would go word for word. How could you do this? Why would you do something so stupid? Because Shut up, I'm still talking. After this, it was dropped, and everyone carried on working like normal. Then, I started to notice small and stupid things Mum would yell at the kids for. They come in from lunch 5 minutes late. They are in breach of the contract. A friend comes in and talks to them for 2 minutes. They are in breach of the contract. They want to go to the movies with a friend and have a proper holiday for a day? You're in breach of contract. This is when I decided to read the contract. I didn't before as I had no intention of signing it. And it was ridiculous. Pay was minimum wage, travel cost plus food cost, and came out to like $5 New Zealand a week. No days off unless you were seriously sick. 30-minute lunch break in an 8-hour day. No personal communication during work hours. No food or drink while working. Arriving late and leaving early would be penalized. And these were the worst ones I can remember. I decided this was total BS, and I needed to teach her something. So, using my limited legal knowledge from my IT degree, I rewrote the contract. Minimum wage with travel reimbursed, paid days off for something as little as a cold, 1 hour lunch break, personal conversation allowed as long as I'm working at the same time, leaving and arriving 20 minutes late or early caused no penalty. Also, due to my IT qualification, any hour I do any IT related work gained double pay, even if it was just for 5 minutes. Contract became void after 2 weeks, and I was due to go home in 3. I took this new contract to my mum at the end of the week. Mum, I'm sorry for being a pain about the contract, so I read through it, corrected some mistakes I could see, and signed it for you. Oh, thank you. I'll get that signed immediately and it will start on Monday. To my brother and sister. See, this is good to learn. I purposely left some mistakes for you to find, but neither of you read your contracts. Always read your contract carefully. Sure enough, she signed it without reading it, gave me a copy, and I was employed for a few weeks. When it came about time to hand in our hours and get paid, my brothers and sisters went first, got their $5 and were happy. When my turn came, I handed over a notebook with my detailed notes on every task I did, how long it took, and at the end, a bill for about $300. I had done a lot of IT work and overtime to fix her work computer, and handed my $5. This looks a bit light. No, you get $5, because she goes through the rundown of the old contract's billing. Yes, but that's their contract, not mine. Check the notebook and contract. My mum checks the notebook, getting gradually more angry. I am not paying you this. This is ridiculous. But you signed the contract. You agreed to it. I hand her a copy of the signed contract. She reads the contract and then refuses to pay it, as she is my mother and this is stupid, and rips it up, then leaving with my siblings, leaving me to make my own way home. Since I've rambled on for a bit, I'll make the next bit short. I got a ride home in a cop car. I asked a favour at the station, since I wanted my mother to learn a lesson, but I didn't want it to go to court or anything. She was told that the law is on my side. Me and my mother are both over 18, and the contract is legally binding. She can either pay me the $300, or I can take her to court over refusing to pay an employee. I got the $300, and we didn't speak for over a year. My dad and Nana laughed with me when I told them. Moral of the story? Always read a contract before signing it. Yeah, I love how it's just like, oh, you guys need to always read the contract, and then signs it without even reading it. So what? Prove you deserve a raise. I started a new job last October through a temp service, working for a warehouse that stores and ships various products. To start, the pay wasn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't great. The only saving grace was that after 3 months, I would be moved into a full-time position with a $1 an hour raise. I didn't plan to stay, but the work environment was actually pretty laid back. Unlimited breaks, no micromanagement, and good co-workers. And I was putting in 15 to 20 hours a week overtime, so I was making more money than I ever have before, even with the lower hourly wage. With all of that, I decided to make this a long-term job. So for the next 3 months, I put my all into this job, and management told me constantly I was doing great. After 3 months, I was due for my raise, but management told me, since it was so close to yearly raises for everyone, a month, I would get a $0.25 raise now, and a bigger one after yearly reviews. I figured a month wasn't a big deal, and they told me it would end up bigger than the dollar I was originally going to get, so I agreed. A month later, I was called in for my review and given a very positive review, with minor deductions for cleaning up messes after projects being their only negatives. I left happy and excited to see what my raise would be. A week later, they revealed raises in another set of individual meetings. I went into mine, hoping for $2.50, but realistically guessing a $1. The boss starts the meeting by telling me a co-worker told him I complained about working with a set of temp workers. I did. It was 2 or 3 days before while out having a smoke break, and that I told him that I thought I was too good to work with them, which I never had and never would have said. From then on, he told me I wasn't cutting it as an employee and he was holding my raise for 6 months. He ended the meeting with, "You have to prove you deserve a raise." 6 months later, and I'm happy to say I was able to prove I deserve a raise. Just not to him. I start my new job Monday. The best part is the raise he was withholding from me was a $0.76, making my total 0.01 higher than I should have gotten after 3 months. The pay raise to my new job? $7 higher than my current pay. Imagine losing like a good employee, or at least I hope that they were a good employee. They got positive reviews, so I hope so. But imagine losing a good employee over 0.01 cent or whatever. It's such a stupid idea. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.